Hi guys, welcome back to Points of Interest, and Carl is going to come show us off the Tempest today. Thank you so much.
Hello.
I've been super excited about this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to jump right in after two quick things that you guys have been asking us about. A lot of you are asking, why was there no trailer for the Tempest? It's a really short answer. All of the teams are working on Heart of Thorns like crazy, and they're really, really busy with that. So that's what we're working on. That's the answer to that question. But the bigger question, a lot of people saw a data mined sword a while back, and they want to know, where is the Ellie sword, Carl?
The Ellie sword, well,
Jeez.
honestly, we go through a large iterative process. And so something you like to find, like somebody says, oh, you're going to get a sword or something like that. It's until we announce it, like on our website or through, to you guys directly, it's, all up in flux.
That's it. There's a reason we haven't, that we didn't come out and say that. So there are quick answers to two questions that you guys have been asking, and hopefully that's kind of helpful to you.
Yeah.
But what we do have is this war horn that I've been having so much fun with for a couple of weeks now. So why don't we take a look at what we can do? You guys have had a preview. But let's talk about how the Tempest changes the role of the Ellie and dive into the war horn skills.
Yeah, so here we go. First off, I guess I don't think we need to start a video just yet.
Okay.
We just talk a little bit about the Tempest itself. So the Tempest itself is going to be your kind of close to mid-range, supportive, and just kind of all-out brawler. It's going to, you're going to be pressed to have precision positioning.
All right, I would like
that
you
one
to
for a
say
while.
that 3 more
Precision
times
positioning.
Now.
Yes.
Precise precision. I can't do it either. Carry on.
I'm not gonna. And sort of be in the front lines and helping your allies out in both healing and boons and just dealing damage.
So we're more frontline now, instead of hanging back, hiding, and cowering behind a rock with a staff like I do.
But yeah, so let's to that measure. Let's talk about the profession attunement changes.
Okay.
So
awesome.
What you're going to do as an elementalist, as a Tempest, is you're going to be overloading your attunements. And as we're seeing here, this is the overloaded fire version. Each time, after a period of time of being in your attunement, you'll be able to you'll be given the chance to overload it. And that overload is intended to have a large, kind of a focus of you should get away from me now, sort of feeling to it, because this is going to hurt.
So this feels like, since you're bringing us more into the front lines, I say us because my poor squishy elementalist, I was so scared about this, and I've been asking Carl, it's going to be okay, right?
Yep.
Since you're bringing us into the front lines a little bit, you're kind of giving us a way to not die in 0.002 seconds.
Yeah, as an elementalist, you have a low health pool, you have light armor. It's actually quite difficult to stay alive sometimes.
Yeah, I thought it was just me, but...
Yeah, it's kind of universal, and that's the way that's kind of how they roll. Is they have a lot of utility available to them at all times, and so they have a little bit less survivability overall. And but to that extent,
the overloads kind of help.
The overloads are going to help you, and when you take the Tempest line, you're going to have some natural traits that we give you, so that you'll have protection and swiftness, so you can actually start moving faster. You can get into combat faster, and you'll have more overall bulk to you because you'll take less damage.
Yeah. So that was our fire overload. I love
water
overload.
Now we're looking at the water overload. Water. The overload for water is you're going to rapidly heal your allies and cleanse conditions off of them, and then when it ends, you're going to have a large burst of healing and apply regeneration in an area around you.
Okay, and the circle that we're seeing, that's kind of your range.
Yeah, that's kind of the radius of it.
So if you see that and the Ellie's doing it, get inside.
Yeah.
It'll make everything better. All right, so we've gone through the fire and the water overloads.
Yeah.
But we have these for every achievement. And the longer you stay...
I think when we recorded these, the build that I was using was the Crusader amulet for a bit of it. It bounces around between Marauder, Crusader, Celestial. I've been experimenting with a lot of healing
Yeah.
So
now, the longer you stay in one attunement, this gets better, right?
the
When
longer
you overload.
it only has so once the skill is available to you, it's usable from that point at it, and its effectiveness doesn't increase as you remain in that attunement. You'll also notice that once you use these abilities, they go on full cooldown. So let's go.
The lightning one.
Here's the lightning one, and not all effects are final, and
Yeah, we
and,
had.
and damage numbers are not final. Like the overloading air attunement, it leaves like a lightning field behind you, and so like you can kind of like channel and kite around. Having fun was funny here.
Yeah, I was apologizing to Carl. I keep sending the guys in to like go fight Svanir. Okay, now show me how this does. Go let this
Sometimes
giant.
they're rough.
Yeah, let me have this gigantic angry Norn just beat the crap out of you. So I'm sorry again, but you did
It's all
pretty
good.
well.
It's all good. All right, so you'll see when you finish casting, it goes on a full cooldown of 20 seconds or 15 seconds, one of those, depending on if you have a certain trait equipped.
We'll look at that in a little bit.
So you got to be careful when you're using this, and they go on full cooldown as soon as you start them. So you want to make sure you're in the right position, and you got to make that choice. Do I want to actually, risk my attunement here? Is it worth the reward? So
That's the thing that I've found as I'm playing it.
and sometimes
It's really tempting to just bang on it as soon as you can.
sometimes as soon as it's available, you just want to hit it. But at the same time, you might be like, if you're fighting Udahane here, he might be just about ready to punch you in the face. Here's the
This is my
overloaded
favorite.
Earth. So when we talk about taking a ride on the Earth, this is what we're talking about here. You're going to provide a protection to all your nearby allies and can repeatedly cripple your enemies. And then at the end of it, it delivers a blast to the area and immobilizes all enemies in the area.
I know we've done this quite a lot on the show. I want to take a second, though, and give a shout out to the animators and
Yeah.
everybody who made these look incredible. Because you have, like, male and female have different animations. And they really put some work into this.
Yeah, some of them you have like this like you're pulling the earth up with both hands, and some of them are like you're like riding forward.
Yeah. The Char was pretty great. She was, I think you were on a female Char, and she was, like, guiding it forward.
Yeah,
It was
sort of
pretty
like
great.
pulling it forward with
Yeah.
you. It's kind of fun.
So you're still going to be balancing these. In the future, we're going to let you guys get your hands on these, and we are going to want your feedback on how does this feel,
and-
what makes it difficult,
Yeah,
what makes it feel too easy.
we've got lots of ideas on like some simple number changes that'll make things feel better. Like for example, the air attunement. It's kind of small of a radius right now. It's like it's 240 around you, which is sort of normal. But we want to experiment with like what if it was 360? What if it was 400? And people really had to like work to try to like they had to come within your kill range in order to actually knock you out of it.
Like 1,600 and like clear the whole Zerg.
Yeah, just
Like,
5,000 range. That sounds good.
and this is why I'm not part of the balance team, because I just went everything. I
Yeah.
just want it all. All right, so
So-
what do we have now?
Next, let's go talk about the Warhorn. So the Warhorn is going to bolster your ability to remain in melee combat, and is going to kind of, promote actually staying around your allies and giving them wounds and that kind of thing. Right now, what we're looking at is the heat sink, which is going to actually give you 3 stacks of might, and then it's going to spread all boons on you to your nearby allies. So whatever boons you had on you, however many stacks of might you have on you, it's going to spread all that to your allies.
And it's worth pointing out it's Sync, S-Y-N-C, which is like,
Yeah.
I love and hate puns. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh. That's actually, I have to laugh at that.
Let's pause the video for just a second, because Warhorn noises they're
Oh, yeah.
interesting, but no, they're not.
Is that what we're calling it?
So Warhorn, you're going to hear a lot of the common Warhorn noises here, and our audio team is actually working on them right now to sort of give them a different feel. And so we're working on those.
I'm sorry. But they're going to kind of, you were saying like kind of Inception?
Yeah, right now, like the one that I heard just recently was like a very deep kind of like really low tone roar almost that kind of like it really helps with like when you're listening to Wildfire, like kind of calling out flames from your character into the ground.
Cool.
But so yeah, you're gonna hear some pretty old Warhorn sounds here, and we hope to get some new Warhorn audio in for this specialization.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's another one of those things that's just still in process, and we're still working on it. You guys saw that a couple weeks ago with the Revenant. Lots and lots of changes still incoming.
Yep.
So, okay, sorry,
All right.
Mark, carry on.
Let's go on Wildfire.
I love it.
You're good at Wildfire. There's like different ones. Or?
No, we have to wait. So because we were having a really, really good time with that, Carl was like, "This is so much fun."
Well,
but I do like this actual physical evidence that you are bringing us into the front, but you're still protecting us. So if you kind of have been wanting to play more of a frontline Ellie, and you've just relied on Earth Attunement and nothing else to make that happen.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
There's the Wildfire. So Wildfire is your kind of area control fire skill. You're going to lay that out as a carpet, and enemies that stand in it take damage, take burning. It's a fire field, which is pretty good for when you're overloading your fire attunement, because that's also a whirl combo.
Yeah.
So like you get into one fire field and you start spinning bolts around the entire time.
I love it. See, I've been playing with this quite a bit. I haven't had a lot of a chance to come up with really good combos, and I'm sure you've got all of them. It's where you can do them in your sleep.
Definitely not all of them yet.
I found a few. I found a couple.
Yeah, so like fire is very heavy-handed in burning and overall sort of giving you more power damage.
So where do you kind of want to go with the fire trait, with the fire attunement right now? As far as, do you feel like it's too weak, too strong? How do you feel like it needs work?
I think it's doing. I want to see how it works. I want to see how it plays out and get some feedback on it. Actually, what we're seeing right now, since it moved on to the next one. This is the.
I get excited about the animations.
This is the Tidal Surge. So the Tidal Surge is going to heal nearby allies, and is going to, and heal and regenerate nearby allies, and then it's going to push back in front of you.
So you've got the golems going back. So you've got that offense and defense all
kind of a crowd
one.
control, kind of a crowd control right on your water skill, which also applies a little bit of healing to. You've seen some of the water orb in there as well.
You're going to be like everybody's best friend once you get really proficient with this, and I don't feel like it's one that you can just pick up and be excellent at right away. I know I was not.
We want to make sure it's synergetic with traits like cleansing water, and to make sure that you have options to also heal your allies' conditions. And the one other thing we'll talk about a little bit later is also very aura heavy, I would say.
Yeah. I want to kind of just give you a list of complicated words and hand them to you. Okay. Just to make it even more fun for you.
I'm not so eloquent. My apologies.
You actually are. It's just that we keep sticking you in front of the camera, and I'm like, here, Carl, tell me everything.
Get terrified and start running away. All right, so this is what we're seeing is the water orb, and it is a mobile water field, and you're going to be able to sit in there, and if you're wielding a dagger, you're going to be able to blast it. Likewise with a scepter, if you have dragon suit going, you can actually blast out a water orb and have them drop at the same time for a healing combo. Get some good stuff out of it.
So
it's actually one of those things is like if I'm actually running away from somebody, just sending the water orb with me and running along with it to make sure I get healing works pretty well.
So I have to confess that that's one of the first things I figured out. Throw it out there and just go.
Run away!
Get away and heal at the same time. But anybody around you is getting this too.
Yep. Works great with Evasive Arcana.
Oh.
Yeah, you can switch over to
I
your
have to do a thing
Earth
right
Attunement.
now.
I'm
logged in over here, just in case Carl needed somebody to set on fire.
Yeah, helps you be a little bit aggressive in when you're pushing forward to get in there and also heal your allies with it.
Yeah. I think the most difficult thing that I'm finding, and you guys that play a lot of Elementalist, is bringing myself up into the front lines and being able to jump back and forth through attunements, because we are pretty squishy, and this is a different play style.
Yeah. There's a lot of water orbs.
You really, really, and you know what though, it was a lot of fun. Carl's a good example. We were just kind of sitting back and like watching him play around with this and have a really, really good time. It was fun to watch.
It's a lot of fun to play. So what we're seeing right here is Cyclone, and what you're going to do is you're going to sort of blast out a cyclone, that snaps enemies straight to the center. So it's going to pull them in, and it's kind of scary right now. It also, in addition to pulling enemies in, it'll give swiftness to allies it touches. So something like kind of like bring allies.
Shows really well.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of golems popping back and forth, but it pulls all of them into the center of it.
All right, so the 5 skill, which I have completely forgotten what it's called.
In addition to this, it also works pretty well with lightning rod, because you get a lot of targets with it. So you can as you're pulling them in, also hit them with beams of lightning.
That was one of the combinations that you were showing me, where you drag them all in, and then you've got them in a nice, handy little to just
helps with the skill 5. So the skill 5 is going to be your. It's also a line projectile. It goes straight forward, and it's going to. Well, we're going to see it in a little bit here.
Carl's realizing, I kind of did this for a long time, and I sat there and let you, so we can totally throw me under the bus on this one.
So here's the lightning orb, and it's going to fire projectiles at nearby enemies and dealing damage, applying vulnerability. Sort of this one helps more if you can single somebody out, it'll fire like 8 or 9 or 10 different projectiles at them. If you can keep them immobilized in place, or if they're running away, you are absolutely going to annihilate them. Don't run away.
Sure, that's
don't run away, Hugh.
Hugh's just over here going, "This is gonna suck, man! Ow!"
So yeah, the lightning orb, and this is another one we're kind of looking at the balance of, is like it fires a lot of projectiles. It has really high efficiency against single targets. It's a little bit less effective against multiple targets. And sort of the way that air normally goes is that it's more single target based.
I don't know. As you're running through like that, it looks pretty devastating.
Yeah, it works. It works pretty well. It gives a few projectiles to pretty much everyone. It's got that potential to kind of run through and just lay some waste, and then let someone come behind you and finish everybody off. It's a good thing to kind of cast with yourself as you're going in.
Oh yeah.
So like you see, I'm able to keep pace with it pretty much.
Yeah.
So you have that as kind of a little buddy as you're running into your enemies.
I see. Now we're talking as far as mini pets.
Yeah.
This is what I need in a
pet
mini
lightning
pet.
orb.
It's a lightning orb mini pet.
You have going over to the earth. You're going to have Sand Squall. You're going to apply protection to yourself, and then you're going to apply protection to yourself and to allies, and then you're going to increase the duration of all boons on your allies. Currently, we have this at 2 seconds increase, so that's going to be like you're going to apply 2 seconds of protection to you and your allies, and then you're going to amplify that up to 4 seconds, based on and the initial application is based off your own boon duration and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
you fire that up, and you can take.
So something like you go do some combos over in fire, and then you go over to earth and heat, and after you've heat synced, and then you're going to Sand Squall in order to amplify all the durations that you just applied.
So one thing that this has made me do is start getting really good at my F1 through F4 keybinds, and get used to switching back and forth quite a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's your traditional Earth, please don't let me die, that we're kind of used to.
Yeah, Earth is good for that. So
I'm kind of letting this play out and just enjoying the animations, which I know we've given a whole lot of shout outs to our animators, but I'm starting to learn a little bit about about what's behind this and how much work goes into this.
Also, our FX artists are very much involved in
so good
working with us and giving us really cool stuff to play with.
Yeah.
The number 5 skill here is going to be your Dust Storm. Dust Storm right now, it applies, it's a pulsing blind field. So, and each one of these little cyclones that you see is going to do its own little pulsing blind, and it's going to also deal attacks. It pulses blind every 2 seconds, kind of sort of similar to a few other skills that you've seen. But it's also, this is a pretty good field to hang out in, being as your enemies are kind of blasted out and then say, hey, come at me.
Yeah.
Let's go. How many skills are you going to miss here?
Yeah, the melee guys come running in, and you're pretty much covered. So, how long have you been working on? I mean, you've had this going for a while now. How long have you've been?
A while.
You told me how long you were working on the Tempest, and I have forgotten. But
yeah, we've been working on the Tempest for quite some time.
Yeah,
you've going through a lot of iterations on it.
Yeah, I am.
I'm
anxious to get to where we can let you guys play with it and start beating on this a little bit and tell us what you think.
Yeah. One of my favorite kind of combos is immobilize, and you use this and if getting an actual immobilize on your enemies and like sticking them in this field, saying, "Hey, you got to stay here for a while now," and I'm going to
do things that hurt.
Now here's a rock on your face.
So now that we've kind of gone through the overloads and the Warhorn skills, do you want to look at traits?
Yeah, let's go. Okay. Let's go. Well, do we want to talk about the shouts first?
You are the king of.
What did I say yesterday? I don't remember.
Why don't we do the shouts?
Let's talk about shouts.
Go for it. I'm going to make an executive decision and
please.
Hope that this is the best for your talking flow.
So we get your healing skill, and this is called Wash the Pain Away.
So great.
Yeah, and it's going to heal you. It's going to heal at a gradually increasing radius. So it really small at first is like 120, then it goes higher and then higher. And it's like extends the healing outward. So the closer you are to your allies, the more healing you're going to get to them. But it's pretty fast casting. It heals for quite a bit. And it heals actually right now the same amount on you as your allies. Previously, I know we had in the blog post that says after the initial heal, well, there's no more initial heal. This is like the whole thing is going to your allies. So we're gonna play with that for a bit.
This is how fast it's changing.
We're gonna test that out. Yeah, there's a few things that have changed since the blog and
you didn't write it that long ago.
No.
All right, so we've got Wash the Pain Away.
Yep.
I've got like all of these shouts on my character down here.
I'd rather just rapid fire them off. Yeah.
All the things. Yeah, this is where I just start panicking and banging on the keyboard and showing off everything.
I think we're almost done with this one, though.
We are. So what would be the next one you would want to follow up with?
Let's see here. Here we go to the next one. We have Feel the Burn. I can't actually shout it out.
James will come in here and be unhappy with you.
Quiet down.
What are you doing?
So you're going to rapidly push out burning to your nearby enemies and grant fire aura to your nearby allies. So this is one of the places. You'll notice with the recent trait changes, there were fewer fire auras applicable. So this is where some of the fire aura has gone. It went over to this fire shout.
Love it.
So, and there's also a couple of traits to help back the aura up here.
I'm playing with it over on my
one
screen.
Of the like with Feel the Burn, I have to say that like the Blinding Ashes trait actually works really well with it because you get a pretty rapid like application of blinding. I think that's what I'm using most of the time when I'm fighting against.
It looks amazing. I need to go away because I'm like accidentally killing all of these golems that you're going to need.
It's okay.
Just
they respawn.
They'll come back. But I'm just auto-attacking. Right, so I sent you over to fight Svanir again, and I'm very, very sorry.
I'm getting used to it now.
You're getting better at it.
Right. Let's see here. Next one we have is Shock and Aftershock. So you're going to like release an initial burst that's going to cripple nearby enemies, and then they have about half a second before the next attack is delivered, and then immobilizes them. This skill is going to be renamed, I believe, and we're I think we're redoing the audio on it as well.
Just Aftershock?
Yeah, it'll just be Aftershock when we get the ability to do so.
All right, so you could come in here, use Aftershock, and then...
So this is like one of the
them and feel them
combos.
burn.
One of the combos I'm a fan of is the Magnetic Grasp into Shock and Aftershock. So you use the Dagger 3 skill. And
didn't take my staff
if that
off my
lands,
alley.
because the Dagger 3 is unblockable, you go Shock and Aftershock while you're, and then lay down the blinding fields,
All right,
your Dust Storm on top of them.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and then after that, since you're in Earth, even in Earth for just a little bit, then you can start using the Overload Earth and continue to cripple and immobilize. It's pretty good to keep enemies like in place, pinned down, helping things out.
That's okay. Yeah, that's kind of looking like it's going to hurt them. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, and
so we have Eye of the Storm,
yay.
which I don't think we got a whole lot of good video for. Just me running around. Yeah.
I don't know. It works pretty well though.
Eye
So
of
what
the
does it do?
Storm. So this thing is going to break stun for you and your nearby allies, and it's going to
Stun
grant
break.
all of them super speed. So you're going to be able to sort of break that stun, get out of there, or you can use it preemptively and like say, I want to engage, I want to move faster, or position my allies elsewhere. And it's a good thing like in combat to sort of push
So
toward
if you
your
can-
goal.
Yeah, so if you can communicate with them and let them know, okay, we're going to do this, and everybody get out of here immediately. This is really handy for that because then everybody can scram. The super speed's a really good addition to this.
Yeah.
Except now I feel super slow.
When you're
After it's
not.
over, I'm like, wait, why am I stuck in mud? No, this is not okay.
And there's a trait. There's another trait to kind of bolster this shout as well, which we'll talk about soon.
Awesome. Soon,
Soon.
when you're ready?
Whenever the video's ready.
Oh, okay. When it's ready. Should try to get through one without
let's see here.
talking about that. All right, and you can leave some. Let me see. You can leave some cripple in your wake, right?
Yeah.
Just so they can't run after.
I like using Eye of the Storm and Aftershock in conjunction with one another. Also, one thing I forgot to mention. Oh yeah. So here we go. We have Flash Freeze. And it's going to create a small area around nearby enemies, and they have like a very short time to actually get out of it. But so you're going to yell Flash, and then Freeze is when it's actually going to actually hit.
All right, so if they can dodge quickly enough, they're okay. But
Yeah, it's
Pretty
a
short.
delayed blast shout or delayed attack shout. So you're going to hit up to 5 enemies in the nearby 600 radius, and basically you're going to get free chill on them a lot of times.
nice.
In addition, it applies Frost Aura to you and your nearby allies. Here it shows a 3-second Frost Aura. It's actually gone up to 5 seconds, I believe.
So this one's changed too.
Yeah.
Love it. So I need to actually get this on my bar and play with this.
Yeah.
Flash freeze.
The aura that that Aftershock, or Shock and Aftershock applies is Magnetic Aura. So it's a pretty good resistance against projectiles at that point
Yeah.
for you and your nearby allies.
All right. And meanwhile, your enemies are just kind of standing there, not able to move. And then when they are, they're really, really slow.
Yeah.
I need to play with this more. I'm having so much fun, and all I've done is just play with single skills, not even combos. Seriously, I feel like I'm going to keep on harping on this, but you're going to have to really play around with this and kind of get used to it. It's not one where you just pick it up and, all right, I've got this down. I've got this mastered.
All right. What we're seeing here is Rebound, and this is the your elite. It's a low cooldown elite, and it's going to be, your next skill has a 25% reduced recharge. So what we're seeing here is that I'm using Rebound and then using Wash the Pain Away, and it is setting it on a 20. It has a 25% reduced cooldown on it. It works well. Works pretty well with all your shouts, with your Warhorn skills. It works with your overloads.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you can do a few different things with it. works with things like meteor shower, so you can, and it applies to all your nearby allies. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of coordination to use. Hugh's kind of over there, like he's a little wide-eyed.
Are you okay? Hugh's going my handbow.
And so it does take a little bit of coordination to get your allies to use it, but sometimes it's kind of one of those things that like you see your allies starting to initiate, and oftentimes they initiate with crowd control skills. Mm-hmm. You know, so like starting a fight is a pretty good thing to just have.
All right, so
yeah,
fire that off and then bust out something with a big recharge. I'm turning it back off. But let's see. All right, so pick something with a good long recharge. Does it work with weapon skills?
Yep, works with weapon skills.
Nice. So just skills, the end. All of them.
Yep.
Love it. All right, do you want to look at the traits next, or do you want to show some fights?
Let's look at the traits, because that's a good order of things.
Awesome. Let's take a look. And that is.
I guess that's over here.
I will get out of the way.
All right, so I have a blindy burn build on, running blinding ashes, that kind of thing. But let's look at the Tempest. So here's your Tempest line. The minor traits are your Singularity, which is going to actually allow you to overload your attunements. Your next minor trait is going to be Speedy Conduit. You're going to gain swiftness when overloading an attunement. And this is like every time you activate it, it's going to just give you a certain amount of swiftness to it. And then Hardy Conduit, where you're going to gain protection whenever you begin overloading. So the idea is that one of the things is that by activating these overloads, you're kind of giving a sacrifice. You're saying, I'm either going to stay in this attunement until it comes back up again, or I'm going to switch attunements and then not be able to enter back in for a period of time. So, you know, we want to make sure that like while you're overloading, you're going to have protection. You're going to feel like you're a tankier character.
Yeah.
So
again, just helping us out on the front lines a little bit.
Yeah. So let's start off with the adept traits. So adept trait, you have the first one is called Gale Song, and whenever you are crowd controlled, you're going to use Eye of the Storm, which will break. It'll break you and your nearby allies at a stun and give you all super speed. It's kind of one of those things useful against Earthshaker, a few other extreme crowd control skills.
Okay,
I have
you
to
did
say
that on purpose.
Yeah. Just to see the reaction on his face is great.
Be nice. Both of you.
Yeah, we're all nice here. Next up, we have Latent Stamina. So you're going to apply Vigor in a radius when attuning to water, and then granting Vigor to allies also restores a portion of Endurance. So you're going to, and that portion right now is 10 Endurance. So by attuning to water, you're going to say, hey, allies, here's some Endurance. Also, a little bit more on top of it. Mm-hmm. And this also works with a couple of different traits that grant Vigor. A question coming in: can you walk while using Wash the Pain Away? Yes, you can.
You can. All right, this next one's my favorite.
The next one is Unstable Conduit, and overloading attunement grants an aura based on the element you are tuned to when the ability is completed. So you're going to go kind of walk around here for a bit, and when it ends, you can get that magnetic aura.
Urge to kill rising.
So you'll notice that it went on cooldown.
Flooded.
I can go back in as soon as that's done. Same with water, you're going to get a frost aura. Air, you're going to get a static aura. And fire, you're going to get your fire aura.
Charged up.
As expected.
I'm really, really glad it wasn't something else. Thank you for at least making them line up with the attunements.
Surprise.
Good job.
Surprise, it's mist form. No, I don't know.
Can we do that for April Fool's Day? That would be great. That would be fantastic.
All right. So up next, I guess we go into the major traits. You're going to have Tempestuous Aria, and allies affected by your shouts gain might. Enemies affected are affected by weakness. So you're going to give might to your allies and weakness to your enemies. Kind of helps more equally, like you're going to even the playing field pretty quickly by using this trait and shouts together.
Nice.
Also works pretty well with Gale Song as well, because oftentimes when you get crowd controlled or something like that, the next skill incoming is going to be big damage. So next up we have the Earthen Proxy. Damage is further reduced while you're under the protection of affection. Effects of protection.
The protection of protection.
Yes. So this will increase it by 20%, giving you a 40% damage reduction, up from 33%.
Nice.
Which works pretty well when you have Hardy Conduit, which is the Grandmaster Minor trait. Not much more to say about that one, so let's keep going on. Next up, we have Harmonious Conduit. Recharge from overloading and attunement is reduced by 20%. So normally, this has a 20-second cooldown. Instead, it's going to have a 14-second cooldown.
I'm having so much fun with the overloads. The first thing I did was lunge for all of the overload.
This is a little bit skewed right now because I have an arcane equipped to go over to water. Yeah.
Why is it doing that?
Arcane does double reduce right now, but we're still working on how this overall works with arcane. So there we go. Now it's normally without arcane, it's a 16-second recharge. There we go. All right. So the Grandmaster, imbued melodies upon casting Warhorn abilities break stun for allies. It says allies you're facing right now. This is actually just going to be in a radius around you because facing is a little odd and a little harder to understand when, like, we don't say like this cone or this area or
is it my line of sight?
It's a lot easier to be like it's anybody who hears your sound around you.
Yeah. What if my character turns her head? Then what happens?
So it's just going to be in a radius. Next up, we have Lucid Singularity. So this is one of those things to kind of help you move around while you're you're overloading an attunement. So Lucid Singularity, you're going to remove and gain massive resistance to movement impeding conditions while you're overloading your attunements. That's going to be immobilized, crippled, and chilled. So if you activate one of these things, you're going to remove all of them immediately. Like you're not going to no more chilled, no more immobilized, no more cripple, and then you're going to get like 100% resistance to them.
Nice.
During the time that you're attuning or you're overloading. And finally, we have Elemental Bastion. Auras you apply heal allies. So this is kind of a little bit similar to how altruistic healing works for the Guardian. But auras you apply heal allies, and then you apply a frost aura to yourself and heal allies when struck while below the health threshold. So 75%. So you're going to be able to apply auras to your allies, and each ally you apply to is going to get healed for the listed amount there. Right now it's 552. Works pretty well in conjunction with shouts and with your conduit ability, your unstable conduit. If you go things like the powerful aura, you're going to be the unstable conduit turns into AOE auras whenever you overload an attunement. So you're going to be able to do things like, I'm going to channel my air ability, and then I'm going to apply shocking aura to all of us and also heal Ruby over here.
I'm so glad that I'm not your enemy right now. Very excited about that.
So, yeah. The build I had before was more of an arcane style one. I was using Evasive Arcana. I've been playing around with Elemental Contingency because it gives a few different interesting boons that you can make use of. Final Shielding and Renewing Stamina. So gain Vigor whenever you deliver a critical hit, which triggers the Latent Stamina. And I was using Earthen Proxy and Lucid? I think that's what I was using. No. Yep, there we go. And I was using more of a carry-on style burning build. There we go.
Nice.
So this one has a lot of, like, it's fairly offensive, but it has a decent amount of burning, and it has and it also has some pretty good defense to it as well.
All right. So do we want to?
With that, I guess we can go. Yeah, let's go into some of the fights. This is just from playing around the other day, and I'm still learning on how things work. Right there, I just got my my fire overload rocked. He booted me in the face, and I don't have it for a period of time. I'm going to switch around, but you'll notice that by the time like I was switched out, like it had already cooled down quite a bit. Going over to air, gonna get booted in the face again. God,
sorry,
Carl.
I'm really sorry. I made you fight him.
Carl, what are you doing? Dodge roll in, blast that water field, heal myself, and almost die horribly. There are better fights, I'm sure.
But you know what? You're not the first one to get his face booted here, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I like staying just out of melee range when channeling air, so that you can get the whole thing off. When wielding a dagger, make sure you always hit with your air 2, so you get to weaken enemies. I'm pretty liberal when it comes to using that healing. The shock and aftershock first, because like it's an immobilize, and all they can do is respond with a ranged attack. And when you have magnetic aura, there's pretty much nothing they can do other than block.
And they're just standing there on fire. So
Yeah,
that's a
they're on
good
fire.
thing for
It's always good,
everyone.
right? I'm going to sit in my dust storm a bit and blind him for a bit.
Getting your rockin' right away.
Yeah, that one, he actually, so while you're in Earth and overloading your Earth attunement, you're going to have a break bar. And the break bar it's not a gigantic amount of stun that you can take, but if you get knocked out of it, it'll stun you for a second or so. Which is actually a little bit better, because like we've been playing around with it. If you try to MOA a break barred character, it'll break the bar, but it won't actually MOA them. We've tried that.
Do we want it to? Can we?
Yeah, this is something where
I would like that to happen.
this is something where it's in progress. We're trying to figure out how we want this to work. And
You're
break
gonna hear
bars
a
are
lot.
and it's an iterative process, like I said, and we're not sure at this point whether or not we're testing break bars on players. So it's something that we wanted to put it in a couple different places and see like how does this feel, and in a lot of cases it feels pretty good.
Depending on which end of it you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that was your first look at the Tempest gameplay from the guy who's making it. So thank you. All by yourself.
I've got a lot of designers. We get a lot of input and feedback, and I do some of the implementation. But it's very much we're all in there and playing it and giving feedback and giving it to other people and saying, hey, test this out, play this. How does it feel? And so we got Hugh here he's been the test dummy a lot of times.
He's like, I hate you. So pretty soon we're going to be able to give it to you guys too, and let you test it out, take it out for a spin. That may have been a fire overload pun, but it kind of
Go for a
was
spin?
spur of the moment. Yeah.
All right.
So, all right. Thank you very, very much, Carl. I know you have like 1,000,001 things to do, so I will let you get back to them. But I
Awesome.
appreciate the first look at the Tempest.
Thanks for coming and joining for the first look. I enjoy this, getting to show things and show how it all works and getting feedback from you guys.
Yeah. So we'll be right back in a second with you in PvP 101.